Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Friday, April 17th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice here that price has returned almost all the way back to the 2900 level. Very important level here if you kind of zoom out of the chart a bit. What's happened here is we had a gap up in after hours trading, and price has traded in a narrow range at these highs below 2900 the entire overnight and pre-market session heading into RTH. We have a range of just 31% of average daily range right now for the ES, only a 35 handle range when we've been averaging about 111 handles over the last 10 days and 98 points over the last 5 days. So we're well off those levels, and again, being that we're consolidating at highs after a gap up suggests that perhaps there is some sort of accumulation or absorption occurring at these highs here. High volume perhaps could be changing hands here, where someone is looking to keep 2900s offered for a shot at least a short-term pullback. Again, this is an important zone up here, 2900 now, that if it starts getting above that zone, you start opening up quite a bit more upside headspace. So this is going to be an area where if price is defended, perhaps we see a pullback that could be rather sizable, perhaps back toward 26.45, perhaps a little bit lower. But right now, any pullback into that zone could still be a buying opportunity, as this thing has been channeling higher since that pivot low in mid to late March. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. Very similar price action for the NQ here. This one has traded a range of 34% of average range here so far today. It gapped up after hours, trading a narrow range of just 107 points. This one's been averaging over 300 points a day over the last 10 sessions, 288 points over the last 5 alone. So we're well off those levels, and again, you can see here price is consolidating right at or near the previous month's high. That level right there, if you recall, after the initial sell-off, that was the midpoint, and then it sold off another bigger leg. We are now right back at that point, and again, seeing a bit of absorption here at that level, perhaps within this narrow range. So again, only 34% of ADR. We're back to this point here. Are we about to see another big swoosh back down, say back toward 8250 or 8K? Or are we going to see something bigger down the road? Right now, just got to take baby steps at a time. If this is a pullback zone off the 9K zone, then at the very least you see something like a return back toward 8250, perhaps as much as 8K. Beyond that, we have to see how it goes from there. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. We had a major rollover gap from the May to June contracts in crude. Crude oil was trading down here near 20, and with rollover to the new front contract, yesterday was the first day where the June contract had more volume than the May, and so we had a rollover to today, and now you see a big gap up here. We're still within that key range, and that key range is going to be very important still. Again, we've already seen kind of that rollover gap up. We'll see if it can hold the 2450s. If it can hold 2450, perhaps there's a bit of a bounce to 2850 and maybe even a bit higher into 30 to test the recent highs here. So right now we're kind of just watching this small key range. Again, what we were looking for was a squeeze from 20 up to 24.5 and perhaps up to 28.5. Again, this rollover gap helps that here, but if it can hold this 2450 now, perhaps there's a bounce up to 28.50 ahead. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. This one's down about 0.8%. It's trading a range right around average, 90% of average. It's at 42 points of range already today, and it's been averaging 49 on a 10-day and 48 on a 5-day. You can see right here we are at the pullback zone, and this is what I mentioned earlier in the week. When we got this rally, and I mentioned if price comes into 1700, that could be a buy for a move into 1800 and perhaps as high as 1830. So today we're already seeing a reaction to prices below 1700. We hit 1696.80 bounced off 17 evens and are now right at the day's midpoint. If it can close beyond that midpoint, the upper third of the day, we will get a buy signal here that could lead to a nice little bounce. So again, 1700 proving to be a good zone already as we bounce off that area. Any pullback, even as deep as 1705, 1706, 1708, could still be a buying opportunity for a continuation today. But again, this is what we were looking for before. This thing continues to be very bullish, continues to channel higher, and this pullback into 1700 after this recent breakout could lead to the next key level above. And just for reference really quickly here, we'll scroll up a moment. You'll notice that from this key range here, that key range high, we've gotten that breakout, we're getting the retest. This target right here is the 50% target. So to bounce off the top here, 1831 is the next key target above from the 1700. We got to make sure that this thing sticks by the end of the day, but right now, for those of you who want to be early, this could be the rejection day that leads to 1831 by this time next week. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, happy Friday, and if I don't see you, have a fantastic weekend. The rest of you, I'll see you in the trading room. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have a fantastic day. Take care.